Yay!
Go to my audio properties. Boop. Yeah, thank you, Lone Wolf. Appreciate it. I don't know why OBS does it, but about maybe once every month or two, it just decides it's going to go back to the default instead of my actual mic, and for some reason it doesn't like my mic as the default. I have no idea why. It's probably because I also have headphones that have a built-in microphone, and it's probably trying to do that, but I've actually unscrewed it from there. It's one of those you can actually unscrew the little mic, little stick mic thing from it. But anyway, looks like we're good. We did drop a few frames earlier too. I wonder if that was maybe that was just because I was. Yeah, we're not dropping any more. I think it was probably just because I was futzing with the settings and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think OBS is mad because you won't update it.
That's probably it too. Yeah, it did ask me if I wanted to update, but that was right before the show, and I was not going to do that. So okay, looks like yep, Lone Wolves can hear me. I think we're all good. That also, of course, helps with the recording. Actually, let me redo the thing since it probably did not take on the OBS. This is episode 423. We're recording this on September 28th of 2021. This is the raw version of the show. We'll go out with all flubs, including these. And then we will clean up the audio version and put that as an actual podcast tomorrow. We're going to have a guest, Merlyn, first-time guest this week. I'm very excited. And we'll get going on the actual formal podcast here in just a minute. Is everyone ready? Everyone's got their Audacities going and all that, it sounds like?
Ready to go. I am retweeting that we're starting.
Oh, yes. I haven't done my tweet either. Let me do that first real quick.
Oops.
Okay. Don't want to do it from that account. There we go. We are live.
There we go.
First time guest. Okay. .tv. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Speaking of Twitch, my son had his Twitch account hacked and ended up having. Yeah, and unfortunately, because he had actually like been supporting some friends and stuff, and had a card attached, he actually had to kill his credit card, and they're going to have him send him a new one.
Oh crap!
Yeah, bit of a pain in the butt. All right, it is sent out. If everyone's ready, then I think we can get going.
I am ready to go.
All right.
Let me get that tweet out again. Be quiet, me.
I always like to do a little face stretch before I go. There we go. All right.
Wow. Well, what did Ron Burgundy say?
Oh,
New York. Goodbye, New York.
I know. I don't know. I don't remember which one he used. Yeah, that's right. He did some. That's a pretty common thing. Yeah, unique New York. Yeah, unique New York. When I was doing theater in college, the one we used was New York. You need New York. You know you need unique New York. So yeah, there's little tongue twisters and stuff that people do to sort of like get their brains in gear, and also kind of stretch out their mouth muscles. Anyway, all right, here we go. Going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast. Judge me by my size, do you? This is episode 423, being recorded on Tuesday, September 28th, 2021. I'm your host, Chill. With me is my co-host, KittyKissz. Hey, Kitty.
Hey. Chill.
And I'm very excited to say we have a brand new first-time guest here. We've got Merlyn. Merlyn, how you doing?
Yay!
I'm doing well. Chill and Kitty, thanks for having me on.
Excellent. And now you do a lot of SWTOR guides. This is a really cool thing. I mean, I'm always down for a good guide, and I noticed you've also been doing ones for the test server that's on live right now, and for the next expansion. So tell us a little bit about what you do and where people can go to get your guides.
Yeah, sure. So I've been playing the game. I think I joined SWTOR back right after the Cartel expansion.
Nice.
And really, as many players did, came into it from KOTOR. Had never done an MMO before. Loved the KOTOR game. Really excited about the remake. Incidentally, they just announced, and came into SWTOR. Really enjoyed it. Eventually got into raiding, and kind of over time got more experience with the class and ran more of the content. Then tried another class, and it all started with I put together a Google Doc with like all my notes for operations, and another one for class guides. It was like my cheat sheet to each of them, and eventually it covered everything. And eventually this Google Doc became like, was usually shared in my guild, and was like, I think I have a backup copy of it somewhere. It was like 600 pages. I'm sure someone with a few thousand images of all the like ability icons. I'm pretty sure someone opened it. Their like house lights might dim, and I was like, you probably need something better. And so a friend of mine in guild helped me set up Google Sites, which is what I use to set everything up. It's really clean. I'm not a tech savvy person as it relates to the internet or things like that, really.
Right.
And so that was really easy and kind of idiot proof, which is good for me. And yeah, first was just largely, reference for guildmates and everything. I thought might as well make this more available, trying to make it accessible and easy to read, easy to follow. And yeah, it's been pretty cool. It's given me a window to the broader community, which is really, really cool because the SWTOR community is great.
Yeah,
it is.
That is excellent. And so you've got class guides, you've got operations guides, and you've got now PTS guides for the new class stuff that's going on. Are there other guides as well? Did I miss any class or category?
Yeah, that's it for the most part. Occasionally I'll do some other things. I've been periodically posting some stuff on YouTube, or like how to do star parse guides. I've posted a few videos on like the old on rails space missions because I love those.
Nice.
And kind of dipping my fingers and toes in a few other areas. But yeah, that's mainly my lane is class guides and operations content where I try to stay.
Under YouTube, how would they find you? Just do a search on MERLYN and then SWTOR, or what's a good way?
Yep, that's it. It's youtube.com/c/MerlynSWTOR.
Excellent.
Easy to find.
Yeah, and so because you're doing these operation guides, you must be a long time operation person. Do you go for like really extreme? Are you going for like the hardcore level, the nightmare levels and all that?
Yeah, we've kind of gradually worked our way up. And so I've been running a prog team that for, some of the roster turns over time, as you would expect. But I think either 4 or 5 of our 8 have been on that team for, it's got to be 2.5 years now. Nice. And it started as a fun run team. And then it was like, hey, let's run veteran mode content. And then we cleared all the veteran mode content. Like, let's start running NIM content. And we've been just working our way through. And we're up to the point now where that team is ready to is working on Nightmare or Master Mode, Dread Council, the last boss, in Dread Palace. Nice. And then all that's left is Duxon and Gods. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's amazing. What are some of the most difficult fights that you find on Nightmare that you've gotten to? Brontes?
Definitely Brontes. Brontes is, I mean, Kefis is tough because the damage scaling as a tank, and I play all roles, but usually in prog I tend to tank more often than not. He hits so stinking hard. But Brontes is the toughest because you do all of this prog to get to the burn phase. And in Nightmare, there's some extra mechanics that are difficult that you can't really practice in other difficulties. And you do all this prog to get to burn phase, and you're basically doing the same 30 seconds of prog over and over again.
Right.
Until you can make it 40 seconds. So then you're progging 40 seconds at a time until eventually you get the kill.
Oof.
That's my favorite fight in the game.
It is a very cool fight, yeah.
That fight is what got me into raiding. It's a great fight. So how many sets of wings do you have?
I don't have any. I have not had the luck on rolls for it. And I wasn't running NIM actively, that actively back when level sync was a thing where you could go in and out level it, where it would have been pretty easy to farm it.
Right.
Oh well. And do you do any PvP, or are you strictly a PvE guy?
I dabble. I'm pretty casual about PvP. I have a difficult enough time getting gear sets for every class in PvE content that I can't even be bothered to play with the serious folks in PvP. So I'll dabble. It's fun. It's a nice change of pace for me.
Right. And I do like the Space Rail missions myself. I've also been getting back into Galactic Starfighter. Have you done much Starfighter?
I dabble a bit. The challenge I have is I like to play every character, and so I'll rotate because the conquest points are so good, which means that I don't play any one character enough to get enough points to really gear one out. But the good news is you don't really have to. Stay with the group. Don't be afraid to run away, and it's fun. Yeah. I do think it's a part of the game that is maybe the most intimidating to players, because it's one of the ones where it feels like you just have to be terrible at it for a while until it kind of feels comfortable.
Yeah.
And once you get there, I think it's a lot of fun. Now, just like PvP, some matches you roll in and you just get destroyed, and that's the way it goes.
Oh, you got a helper.
Yep, a little SWTOR helper there.
Yeah, I think that with the Galactic Seasons, they've really made the space PvP a lot more accessible than it has been than it has been before. Also, I think that people kind of tried it again. I know that's what I did. I didn't touch base PvP for a long time, and then when Galactic Seasons happened and I saw that that was one of the things you had to do, I tried it again and I loved it. In fact, I like it probably more than regular PvP. It's fun, but you're right, there is a learning curve there.
Yeah, I really have to thank them for Galactic Seasons for giving me just that enough of an incentive to get back into Starfighter, because it's a really fun mode, and it's one of the prettiest modes too. It's just absolutely gorgeous in those matches. The maps are all just lovely.
That's right, and it's pretty unique because LAN PvP, as we think of it in this game, is present in a lot of other MMOs, but there's not really anything quite like GSF anywhere, which is pretty cool. It's a shame that it didn't get as much popularity when it first released. That maybe would have made the devs a bit more aggressive in releasing content for it. But who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll release some more content for it. But I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah,
that'd be
exactly.
Great.
And it's so it's the action is so great and fun, and that when I'm doing the actual mission, the map that's on McKeb, I actually have to reorient my ship to up and down, or else I get all discombobulated. It's crazy how realistic it feels when you're in that thing.
It's absolutely happened to me a time or two. I'm like, oh, I need to run away, and then I turn, and then I look down at the map, and I'm like, oh, I'm surrounded by red dots because I went the wrong way.
Yeah, it's easy to do for sure.
It's totally easy to do. 3D, baby. So what have you been up to in game, Merlyn?
It's been a little slower for me lately, trying to take the deep breath before we get too deep into the expansion.
Right.
And so just been playing casually. I made it. I finished my Galactic Seasons, though it took me until 2 days before the last day to do it.
Nice.
So that was fun. And then just, prog team, and then just, been available for other folks that need subs. So I had the chance to sub on Marcus's team when he got his Kefis kill. Was it last week, I think? So, been a little bit slower, but again, with an MMO, you have to kind of pace yourself, and I'm already anticipating how busy it's going to be when these class balance changes get finalized and people start to think, hey, gee whiz, how are all these classes going to play in the expansion?
Yeah, exactly. They're definitely going to feel different, a lot of them for sure.
Yeah.
And with certain utilities being either you have to choose one or the other, or they're being merged, or some of them are going away and new ones are coming in. It's definitely going to feel a little bit different for anyone who's played the game for a long time. And that's gonna be interesting. It sounds like because you played all the characters, do you try to keep them all with endgame gear, or do you just kind of dabble with the others and you have one main?
I play a little bit of everything. At first, it was a way for me to, I think, finding new content, right, to keep the game interesting, saying, hey, I'll try this other discipline that I never tried before. For example, one of the first damage disciplines I ever played was the sharpshooter, gunslinger, marksman, sniper. And after a while, I was like, I really should try something else. I've been playing PvP, and these dang snipers throw these plasma probes that keep being such a problem, I'm going to give that spec a try. And
Right.
Come to find it's been all of them are fun in their own way. And so it became a bit of a personal challenge for me to learn each one. And I won't say master it, in that I wouldn't say I'm the best out there at every discipline necessarily, but I can play all of them at least a veteran mode, and almost all of them probably at a NIM level, I humbly think.
Right.
And they're all interesting. And so to some degree, I kind of just, when I'm logging in for when our guild or whatever is doing like a story mode run, or I'm just logging in to just run a flashpoint, I'll just kind of eeny, meeny, miny, mo and pick a character and just kind of keep it fresh.
Yeah, I've definitely had that experience too, where it's like I'll be playing PvP and it's like, man, that ability is such a pain in the ass. I could be that pain in the ass.
That's right.
Reroll, baby. Yeah,
That's funny. That's why I went sniper.
To get that long distance, sweet long range damage.
That and the skedaddle, they just like move around so fast, and I think it's the only PvP class that I feel like I do well. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm doing well, but it always makes me feel like I'm kind of a badass. But it's a fun one for sure.
That's cool. Yeah. All right. And Kitty, what have you been up to in the game?
Well, I have been playing my pretty kitty character, which is a pureblood Sith she started off dark side, but one of the folks in chat said that I've been playing a lot of a-hole characters. So why don't you play something nice? And I was like, you know what? That's okay, let's do that. And so I started her off as dark side, but then, slowly made her go through and go to light side. So that part on Tatooine, where you're confronted by yourself, and it gives you the option like, hey, this is what's going to happen
if you continue down the dark side, right?
And I use that opportunity to click the switch to light side.
Nice.
And start going light side.
Good choice. Yeah, that's cool.
I also have a companion. I don't know what no, it's a pet. It's like a dog with a huge underbite. Anyway, so when I get a companion in the game, I'll ask chat, hey, what should we name him? And somebody came up with Carl. So now Carl is part of the story. And it ends up that pet also has a ghost version of itself. So I decided that, okay, at some point in the story, Carl's going to die.
Okay.
And come back as a ghost that only my character can see and hear. And Carl is a really grumpy, like, old man. And so that's not going to happen till the vanilla story. And Chad is going to, kind of go, all right, when's Carl going to die? And I'll ask chat and we'll come up with that point in the story. Now, when that does happen and Ghost Carl is a complete jerk, I'm going to open the dialogue up to chat so they could write, Carl says, and then blah, 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 so we can have a back and forth with what's going on during the story.
Funny.
So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. But, what's funny is that people have become attached to Carl. So
they don't want him to die.
They're like,
no, Carl.
Is Carl, or people come in and, did Carl bite it yet? No, Carl hasn't bit it yet. But I'm really looking forward to doing that, and I've never done it before, but I think it's going to be really fun because, we know the story pretty well, having run it so many times. So giving, basically, let's make ourselves laugh from using Carl as the device to do so. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. And I haven't played a Jaegernaut since you and I did the dual stream.
Okay. That has been a while then.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it.
It's a good class. It really is.
And I built it really mobile, so she cooks. I can make my way through things really quick. With the, like after you're done, combat ends, all of my stuff resets.
The majority right, you get to jump, especially. Yeah. Especially your jump. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, really fun.
It's occasionally useful. You'll find like later on with like the chapters and things, just because there's brief moments where like one ambush is stopped, but there's like a moment before like the next one starts or whatever, and boom, you got it up again.
And then I got the Victor set on, so it's just like, pew, I'm cruising. But I like mobile builds. I don't care if I'm not doing max damage. I want to.
You want to have uptime on the fighting.
Yeah, I want to jump and run and, yee-hoo, and all that kind of crap. Another thing I did this week, actually, Chill, you were with me. We did a guild event. I saw it's in the show notes, so I'm going to let you give the details on it.
Oh, okay. Sure.
We had a lot of fun. It was fun. It was cool hanging out with everybody.
Yeah.
It was great. And our friend Stay Alive had a 24-hour stream.
Wow.
And so he started right around when I started my stream in the AM. So like 10 Pacific time. So I did my stream, went to bed, watched Netflix, got up, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to see if he's still going. When I woke up in the morning, he was still there.
Wow.
And
was he going gaga? Was he like a little loopy?
He looked really good.
Wow.
He had his composure was really, really, he seemed like he was doing great. You don't know what's going on upstairs, but man, I was like, oh man, I am very, very impressed. But he did it.
What was he doing? Leveling or doing flashpoints? What was he doing?
He was doing all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
He was having people come in. I know that I saw some flashpoints, so there was some boss fights and stuff like that. But man, hats off.
Yeah.
Hats off to you. That is a huge, huge accomplishment. That myself, never going to happen. I have no desire to do 24-hour stream. I don't think I have the physical endurance to even do it. So, but I am going to do a 12-hour stream. That will be announced later on, probably in the next week or two. So
cool. Is that to celebrate, like, so many followers? 2K followers. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was. I thought that was it, but I didn't want to jump on it if that wasn't it. Yeah. That's going to be great.
I'm kind of excited, and I got a lot of really fun ideas.
Yeah, even 12 hours. I mean, that's a long time. In a chair doing the same thing. I know you'll take short breaks for health and safety and sanity reasons, but but it's still that's a long shift.
It's going to be interesting, and I am not above having a watch party. Like, hey, let's watch Rise of Skywalker. All right, everybody. Here we are. Let's start it and go.
like the teacher who comes in hungover and just everyone gets to watch film strips.
That's exactly right. I am not above any of that time killing stunts. I'm down. But speaking of Netflix, real quick question: have you guys watched Midnight Mass on Netflix?
I have not. I've heard good things, not just from you, but also from other people.
Check it out.
You really like it, huh?
Don't look into what it is.
Okay.
Because I just kind of stumbled on it. I thought the sets looked really cool. And I was like, all right, I'll watch it. And then just hook, line, and sinker. I am looking forward to just jumping in after the stream and just getting into
I might have to. I haven't had Netflix for a little while, maybe like a year and a half. And I might have to re-up it because like there's a couple things that are on it or coming up on it that I really do want to see. So
gotta have it.
Yeah, and now Midnight Mass does sound fun. You make it sound good.
It's great. It was such a surprise. Okay. And I want to spread the word because it's good storytelling. Mwah. Wonderfully done. But that's about it for me. What's up with you, Chill?
Alrighty. Well, first we'll give a shout to the chat room. We've got 152 Domino here, Bing Cortana, Cheryl Mercury, Cryos Light, Dex here as Dekion, Evan04111, Fees here, Intisar Nor, Nvidia73, Jedi Knight 1, Kitty Treats is here, Meltza's here, Lone Wolf, Merlyn's here as Merlyn_SWTOR, Riru is here, Sudster, Squishy Twitchy, Tsunami Safari, and Whale Pig 1. Hey, everyone. And let's see, what I've been doing is Getting through Comfy on Lee Van Cleef, really still enjoying the whole thing, like doing like only using half of the abilities, the ones that are actually like gunplay abilities and utilities that are not too high tech looking, doing that whole 19th century thing. He really butted heads with Eric Jorgen in the chapter where you get Eric Jorgen as a companion. It's basically like everything I said he hated.
Are you playing him as Darkseid?
Pretty much, yeah, because as Lee Van Cleef, I'm doing him as like the bad from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and also his character from For a Few Dollars More, which was, if anything, even more evil and vile.
Oh yeah, yeah. Lee Van Cleef played a great jerk.
He played a great evil guy, yeah, absolutely. And he, since this is past the Alliance chapter, so he has the Alliance. So I've done a few of the Alliance alerts as well. Nothing too fancy. I guess I'm looking forward to getting Mako back, but we're gonna get. He's a bounty hunter, so Torian will get back in the story. Scorpio will get back in the story, and then there's a couple, and then Blizz and the big guy. We'll have to deal with alerts later on, but I haven't done them yet. Let's see. I did Duxon with the guild just a few days ago. Really cool. I've never, as you know, I used to be like a big operations guy, but since I don't have a formal group for it, I haven't really been keeping up with the new content. So this is my first time in Duxon. It was really, really cool. Very interesting. A lot of fun, straightforward. It was Zerka stuff, so it was very Zerka-y. I love how like Zerka is still Zerka. They just slightly changed their name and like gave themselves like a new tax identification number, and then that allowed them to absolve themselves of all their many crimes across the galaxy, basically.
And they're prolific about those crimes and
ongoing, yes, and ongoing, yeah. And so Ducky, it sounds like Ducky and some of the other people in the guild want to be able to do it like on a regular basis, the way they have been doing like Gods from the Machine and stuff like that. So they had like a guest who knew the story and also how each fight went, and he kind of guided us through. Ducky seems to be picking it up pretty well. He was actually like doing some of the special things that you have to do in a couple of the fights. Like I say, absolute first time in Duxon. I was a tank guardian, and I really like some of the fights in there. Like there's some that they definitely did a good job of making them feel like unique. Like within SWTOR, there's some of these fights like don't feel like any other fights. Their first one is sort of a boss with a little bit of like movement and that's a little tanky spanky, no big deal. But first bosses should be kind of like that, Mm-hmm. But then there's like a couple of like run and gun fights where you have to like go through entire areas and like kite a bunch of stuff and take down the ads at the right time and make sure that you're through doors at the right time and stuff like that. And that was really fun. There was a big game hunter fight. I really liked that fight as well. A lot of fun twists and turns and like staying within the circles and not getting out of other circles and lots of ads. That was totally fun. I think my favorite though is the train fight because it's literally a Looney Tune cartoon come to life where you actually have to run over the bosses with trains to kill them.
Those trains move too.
It's literally like Wile E. Coyote could be the fifth boss of that fight. That's amazing. We actually did it really well. Like we rocked it. It's story mode, but still, given that like only the leader had ever really done these fights before, except I think some of them had seen some of the fights and stuff like that. But I don't think, I don't think that anyone had really gone all the way through it, and none of them knew the fights well enough to like explain them to anyone else. So considering we were a very newbie group, we actually did really well. We actually took them all down, except for there was 2 pulls that were accidental where we did wipe, but every pull that we actually did on purpose, we actually got the boss down, including like the last boss, and that was really fun. The last boss is really cool too. It felt that one. I've seen fights that feel a little bit like that one, where the boss leaves puddles, so it's a little bit like the end of the Hut, operation, and there's a couple other bosses that leave puddles around, stuff like that. But
Right.
it was still a lot of fun. There's like definitely some weird mechanics, not as a tank that other people were having to deal with. As a tank, it's relatively straightforward. I just have to keep the boss moving when the new puddle goes down. But anyway, it was everyone did really well. Like I said, we got them down pretty fast. We had 2 wipes that were sort of accidental pulls, and everything else was very straightforward. Very well done. It was a lot of fun. Duck Hunt was this last Saturday, or it was scheduled for it. However, it got more or less delayed. We were all there, kind of ready to go, but Ducky's power was out. It's hard to do SWTOR if your power's out. So we were hoping that he could come back. So we gathered in Kitty and in your stronghold, and we did a slug race, which it's like I don't know why I didn't remember it, but from before, because I've definitely seen something like it or heard people talking about it. But this is the first time I've actually done one. And it's like, oh yeah, that's what it is. So you go to someone's stronghold and they have the hut costume creator, and everyone gets in a hut costume. And when you're in the hut costume, you can only use certain emotes or drop the costume. Those are the only abilities. There's like 9 emotes and drop the hut costume. That's it. And because of that, you can't jump, you can't use movement abilities, and you're quite slow. So everyone lines up and you just slither your way through a race course with no jumping, and so it's all about strategy at that point, because everyone's running at the exact same speed too, unless they've accidentally turned on walk. And yeah, it's basically like, can you avoid the things and don't collide with them to stop you, but barely go around them, and then find the straightest possible path that avoids everything but is still legal and all that. It was actually fun. I've never done it before. I took second. Meltza actually got first, so congratulations, Meltza. That was just goofy but fun.
And it sounds gross too. It's all sludge,
yeah, it's all
sludge.
Yeah, every time you move is like, and so like there's like 8 people going. So then we went and had the dance party in your Alderaan stronghold. You have a whole dance floor set up in there inside the castle. And then we got word that Ducky's power wasn't going to be coming back on in time, so it'll be rescheduled. We'll let you know when it gets rescheduled for. Since, I feel it just isn't a duck hunt night without prizes, I gave an ultimate pack out to everyone, so everyone got to open something
That's right.
and have at least a chance to get something cool. And yeah, I know some people got stuff that they liked. I actually got something that I thought was cool. I got like a raptor pet, and I also got, because I opened one box myself as well, and I also got one variation on the new like Obi-Wan type armor set, and yeah, that was really cool. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. So
it was fun.
Yeah, even though we couldn't do the regular duck hunt stuff, we'll be able to do that hopefully in the next few weeks sometime. And yeah, Mel says I got a really expensive armor set, which was really good. Oh, that's right, you got the Mandalorian one from like just a couple months ago. That one, like the really expensive one, that's really nice.
There were a couple people that got really good armor sets.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think I ended up with some Jawa junk and a
I got a
Martell
rock.
Market certificate.
It's good to hear somebody get something awesome out of those packs. I know I never have. Wow.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's very hit and miss. That's why like if you really want to make sure you get something good, you have to open a bunch of them, which gets really expensive.
Yeah,
but it was fun. And of course, I actually enjoyed seeing everyone being able to open theirs and everything. So that was really fun.
That was
all right.
Awesome, Chill.
Yeah, I really like that.
Those decoration terminals really are a bit of sometimes a hidden little treat in the game. I wish they'd give us more options for this. You can turn to there's a bunch of them, turn to like a Wookiee, turn to a hut. Hopefully one you could, I don't think we have one you can turn into a Jawa, but that'd be another good one.
It would be, yeah. There's the Wookiee chef one, which is bizarre. There's a trooper one, yeah.
Maybe even turn into a little T3 droid would be another cool one.
There is a cooking droid. There's like a delivery droid now. Kitty has that one, and then there's the dancer one where you can turn into either a female or male Twi'lek dancer. But they could be 20 more, and it would be awesome.
Oh, it'd be so fun. Yeah. as soon as I saw that those were a thing, I got them all, and that was one of my main objectives during the Feast of Prosperity last time. Because I got to get that Wookiee with the goofy hat.
Yeah.
It's a shame you can't take those into live content somehow. Like, I would just love to see like Nim whatever boss fight with a bunch of huts.
Right.
As long as you don't have to run out of the way of mechanics, you're good.
Squish, squish, squish. Good luck.
Life again. Damn it.
All right. And let's go to the tip of the week. And Merlyn, you have a tip for us this week.
I do wanted to make contributions. So my tip of the week is just, start thinking about, make a plan for the expansion. And that may mean different things to different people, as we think about how classes are going to change and, what's the first character you're going to level, and have you done all the content? Because for the most part, I don't think they've said whether or not we'll get any kind of a skip mechanic like we have sometimes had at points in the story to let you skip ahead. But hopefully you want to make all these story choices for yourself anyway. So I think I've only actually, despite having played very actively over the last couple of years, I think I've only have like 3 or 4 characters that have actually completed the Spirit of Vengeance and the Echoes of Vengeance content that are technically, I don't think we're getting any other story content between now and the expansion. That the expansion dropped today, I only have like 3 or 4 characters that are technically at that point in the story. So be thinking about that. We know that most of the set bonuses aren't still going to be active once you reach the level cap, but some tacticals may. So whether it's completing collections of some of those set bonuses, because some of them look very nice, or tacticals, or if there's depending on what content you're running or trying to run, is there some flashpoint or operation or something you'd like to do that you haven't yet? Because we don't know how easy or difficult some of those will be. That's something for me, interacting with folks and running any kind of progression. We don't know whether some of those fights are going to get a lot easier or a lot harder or the same. We just don't know. And so to the extent we're close to clearing something, there's a nice incentive to be like, how much can we get done now so that we know it's done in case it gets harder?
Absolutely. Yeah, I that makes a lot of sense. I've got basically what I consider my 6 mains. I have like a tank, a DPS, and a healer class, and then I have the mirrors, so that's 6 characters. And of course, you don't necessarily have to do that in the expansion. If you choose the right ones, you can just kind of make it all one character in one side and one on the other. But I'm probably stick with the 6 I've got. And yeah, but even they are not like all of them all the way through the story, because it's like I did Echoes of Vengeance and stuff like that a few times, and it's like, okay, I don't necessarily want to do this again right away, and then I just sort of let it go. So yeah, there's some of them that I haven't done. One thing I have been doing is I've been selling crew skill mats, especially the embers. It's possible the embers are going to stay relevant. They might very well stay relevant, in which case the price will actually go up, most likely, when the expansion hits, but we don't know. And I think they're still at like this 800,000 credit level on Satil Shan, so I've been sort of pecking away, selling those down. I've been selling a bunch of other crew skill mats, and I've got the most credits I've ever had in my history of playing the game. Not because I've never been like the big GTN wheeler dealer, but because I've been doing this, and because I'm pretty good about sending people out on crew skills. So because of that, I just have a lot of mats, and now I feel it's time to burn down some of them. And if I have over 5,000 of something, what's the odds I'm ever going to need that many of them, especially if they're not end game anymore? So it's like, and I'm selling them literally 1,000 at a time stacks, and sometimes I'm getting back, 10 million credits, and sometimes even more, depending on what kind of stuff it is and how much, they go for. And and the embers sell as well as they ever have. So that's kind of been my main thing. And I've got like 250 million credits now, and I've never had over like 50 to 60 million credits before. Never.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of a lot of people selling mats lately. So I don't know how much of a seller's market or a buyer's market it is.
I don't know. It's possible that some people are just
making bank.
Yeah, and it's possible that like there's some really big guys out there who figure, okay, we're going to actually buy everything now because the prices are not going up like the way everything else has been, and and then assume that at some point they'll turn it around and sell it at a profit. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, treat yourself something nice from the GTN. That's the thing, is like the cartel market things are, those are not staying the same price. Those have been creeping up and up and up and up.
Yeah.
So those things are getting expensive. So it seems like it's a lot of credits on paper, but oh boy, they don't go very far if you want to buy cartel market items. That's for sure.
Right, and who knows how much you're going to need once the new 7.0 drops. Maybe there's going to be some serious credit sinks.
There could
be.
be.
I think would be great for the game.
Yeah, I mean, when it was like, oh, this is like, how many credits to pull a 306 out of a piece of gear to put in something else, it's like, oh, okay. That felt like a lot at the time, and now it doesn't feel like so much, really. So, and Merlyn, do you do much on the G10? Or are you much of a credit hound? Or
not really. It's too much like work. I'm an accountant by trade, so the big numbers are good, but
right.
I know people that have like spreadsheets and keep track of prices, and that's not fun to me.
Yeah, if you're already an accountant in real life, I get it. I totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me,
it's like the shoemaker's children.
Yeah. My approach is usually just at the beginning of each expansion, I just try to, not rush through the story. And I think when the new expansion dropped last time, I think I spent a few days where all I did was running around Onderon, exploring, doing the story because you could like level this from 70, 75 in like, I don't know, a couple hours.
Right.
And I would just go around gathering, and just sold mats. And that, like, I had only ever been in the 50, 100 mil range, and that was a lot. And since then, I've just been kind of like what you're describing, Chill, is just when I get too high on embers or too high on SRMs, I'll just sell some.
Yeah.
And because historically, those end game mats have not been useful. I mean, all the green mats, the blue mats, like the ones you can go gather, typically are useful in Conquest. Probably will be, I guess we'll see. But the OEMs, all that stuff, probably not. And so I kind of have in my mind, this is enough just in case, and anything else just sell. And,
absolutely. Yeah. And that was really smart about going around and just gathering a little bit at the beginning of the expansion, because I did a little of that and it was really valuable, and I really should have done much more of it, because holy cow, those prices were crazy at the time. I don't even remember what the numbers were or even how they compare, but at the time it's like it was massively more than you could get for like other kind of crew skill mats or prices that we'd seen before. So it was a very smart move for sure. And and then but of course I'm just the little puppy going after the most exciting little butterfly. So so I was chasing off after the story, and as usual, and not doing very much gathering.
What's crazy, they changed it where like you gather something, it's like, oh, I got 20 green mats and 15 blue mats and 8 purple mats, and then you go to actually do the math and you're like, how is that worse than when I was gathering and getting 2 or 3 mats? And somehow that's worse. And they nerfed it a few times, but that's pretty predictable. And like you said, the credit's a good point. If there's a way to make credits, don't go crazy with it. I mean, have fun in the game.
Right.
But, if everything gets more expensive, then like if suddenly there's a big credit sink that's part of the game in the expansion where it's harder to earn credits, then that could make it tougher for players. And I would tend to think the devs will bear that in mind. But a lot of people spent millions and millions and millions of credits on like rolling amplifiers.
Amplifiers is quite the credit sink that they added to the game for sure. And given like how much it ramps up already during the course of the game to the 306 level, we know the next level is going to be even higher. So yeah, I'm preparing myself to for those like 7-digit rolls that are going to probably be coming. So yeah, that's that. And also, of course, you can now you can quality lock it too, and that ups the price quite a bit too. So yeah, and it's gonna be interesting also to see just how all that shakes out, like because we know that they've mentioned how like the sets, they're changing because like the abilities are changing, so they can't just keep the set bonuses the same. Set bonuses are all going to be like, if you're over 75, they just kind of go away, or something like. I don't know exactly how it's going to work, but it seems to be something like that. And and there's going to be all the tacticals will have to be changed and new, but some of them might still work. We don't know. We'll have to see how all that shakes out, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It'll likely be the same as all the old gear, where it'll work until you hit max level, and then when you look at the gear, all the text will be red because it doesn't work. Is probably the way it works. And that's right. So most work, if you're Guardian, Juggernaut, Sentinel, Marauder, Send of the Fearless is the way to go, unless you're doing PvP or some tank sets. But you need Force Clarity or Furious Power on the imp side. Well, given the way the PTS is demonstrated, you may not have that ability. You can get it, but it's not mandatory. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how much set bonuses will change, but that's probably one that will be very different.
Yeah.
And so we don't know yet, but they have said some of the tacticals will stay. What I would love to see is more options for quality of life, like I forget the name of it, like the booster tactical from the swoop event. I just love it. I would love to see more ones like that.
I would love to see that too.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think making a plan for the expansion is a great idea, and thank you for that tip. If anyone else out there has a tip, send it to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show for a chance to win a Tonfon, M83R droid code, or an M2B9 code. Do you not have any of those, Merlyn? Because I'll happily give you them for sure.
Check. I might not. I'm not a rabid pet collector.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure we get you those codes for sure. And those are from BioWare, and we also usually give a new OotiniCast provided Ultimate Pack. So send that before the next show. And that moves us to the Mind Trap. Right before we were going to put out a Mind Trap, SWTOR put out information that there's going to be a Best View in SWTOR contest. And there's a whole article about it, and I, in fact, did include like all the various details they gave about it right here in the Mind Trap part of the show notes. And we were asking, well, are people going to get involved with this? So the options were I will or I have. Maybe I'll enter the contest, or nope. So we got 141 votes, not a huge amount, a little on the low side, but hey, it's all good. And we do thank everyone for the retweets. 12.1% said I will or I already have. 44% were maybe, and 44% were nope. Which actually, given the fact that this contest actually requires you to go out and actually do something and kind of figure out how do you do it and how do I turn off how do I turn off the little bars over everyone's heads and everything else, and there's actually a little work involved. That's actually not so bad. So 12% and then 44 for maybe and no, which is fine. I really do want to put something in. I haven't decided where, and I haven't figured out what I think is going to work best, but I definitely do want to involve it. So I was a yes. And how about you, Merlyn? Are you looking to get involved in this contest?
I'm planning to. I have a couple. So a friend of mine, a longtime member of the team I raid with, is like a NIM level explorer and has an entire Discord just for interesting pictures from places you'd think, how did you get there? Like, for example, have you ever climbed, when you go to EV and you fight the droid and you go into the tunnel and you fight Garge, and you come out to do the puzzle boss and you're like in this jungle area that's surrounded by walls of ice. Did you know, I don't know how, but somebody does, you can get on top of that ice wall?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Or like on Oricon, one that I'm thinking of submitting, because I think I have one that meets their standards. When you do the dailies in Oricon, and one of them you climb up the stairs up to that big giant mountain, I guess, in the middle of the zone. And there's these high walls. There's a way, it takes two people, where you do the like duel and the force leap and then the pull and all this shenanigans. You can get up to almost the very top of that building where you're way up above. And so I have one like that. And it's funny that not as many people did, because it's something that doesn't get enough credit for how interesting it is to explore the game, because it's very easy to be like, I see the quest marker on my map and I'm going to go straight to that and straight to that. And there are some really neat views and settings. Like, that's a big part of the Star Wars lore. So I think it's really cool. It plays into one of the strengths of Star Wars. So I'm hoping to just need to find the time to devote a few hours and go to each planet and just kind of wander around and see if anything looks cool.
Yeah,
that's great.
That's always been sort of like an MMO staple too, is just like people going to like the weirdest places that they can. Like there's this one spot, and as far as last time I saw it was like 8 months ago. It wasn't that long ago, but on Corellia, there's like this one thing that looks like a regular wall with like a bit of there's like a joint there, you know, like a bit of a seam or something, and it looks solid. But if you get up to it and you turn sideways, you can actually go out into it, and then you're actually looking at the back side of everything. Like you're looking out into space, you know, you're seeing the weird background that they use that you only see a little bit of usually, and like it's you know, and you're seeing it's very bizarre looking, but you can actually get out there and see that. And yeah, and there's also weird stuff like that. Like you can almost get to the top of the Karaga statue on Nar Shaddaa. I've done that before. You can't. I was never able to quite get to the top, although maybe you could nowadays with the faster mount speeds. You know, like if you had a mount speed set, maybe the little bit of extra jump speed would let you get up there. I haven't tried it for a long time, but yeah.
You learn all kinds of fun things when you're exploring. Like I didn't know this until going around with my friend to do that. There are some spots you're trying to get through a narrow gap where like what your character's body size is actually matters. Where if your body's you can fit in, but if you're body size 4, you can't.
Yep. There was actually a datacron where they had to adjust the little entrance area because the body size 4 people couldn't actually get the datacron.
Was that Osis?
It was the one on Alderaan in the palace way at the end where you have to like slip through a crack and then go upstairs.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
And the crack was too small, and some people weren't able to get through it.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that being in a patch note in like, you know, a long time ago. Who knows, Revan, Hutt Cartel, sometime like that. Maybe even in the original game. But yeah, I remember that was a thing.
There's a really cool place on Quesh too that you can go and find kind of the outside of the game. Mm-hmm. So when you're looking this way, you're looking at, you know, what you normally see in the game. But then you kind of turn the other way, and it's like this infinite view of it's just like very disorienting.
Yeah, that's like the Corellia one is like that. The Corellia one I was describing is like that too. Yeah, it's like the outside, and if you stepped a little forward, you'd also fall, you know, through infinity, and eventually your character would die.
Right.
All the fun little tricks you can find, like even in operations, it's that way. Where like if you ever done the Raptus fight in Palace, where he can hit you and knock you off the platform and kill you, but he also can punt and tank up in the air. And like I have a screenshot from a few years ago where I punted up and landed on top of one of those platforms way up above on that central platform. I'm like 50, 60 meters above everyone. I just landed right on it.
Nice.
Or like in Terror from Beyond, when you're leaping across all these platforms, fighting this giant tentacle monster, and occasionally it kind of bugs out, and suddenly you're down on the floor, like 100 meters below, looking up, seeing your team fight.
Right,
which is a pretty cool view. But the exploration doesn't get enough credit. It's one reason why I think the flagship transport is such a cool quality of life benefit for players, and that along with the whole flagship thing was really, really cool. But the one thing that is a little bit of a downside is I de-emphasize exploration. Like I was tagging along when SWTOR was doing her Datacron guide, and tagged along on a few of those days when she was doing the hard ones, and like did the Makeb one, which is a lot of platforming, but man, it's so much fun.
It really is. Yeah, I mean, and I remember back in the day when, you know, when it's not legacy wide, and then I had to. It's like, oh man, do I really want to have to do the one on Hoth again with the slow moving?
Well, remember in 1.0,
gear
those
things.
benefits were really good. The stats were meaningful.
The stats were meaningful, yes.
The relics you could build with the data shards were also like at one really early, I think we're best in slot. And so in the stats, it was like you would go run all those datacrons just to be powered up enough to run and gain content.
Right.
It's a shame they
actually
scaled those up over time.
They stayed best in slot until not just vanilla, but actually into Hutt Cartel. They were the best in slot until I think there was finally like a slight gear reset towards the end of Hutt Cartel where they finally got superseded. But yeah, those were pretty amazing. And it's still hard for me to like go to hear that little boo-loo-loo-loo noise and not like go and want to click on the Datacron. So anyway,
the Indiana Jones one they did was fun. Hopefully in the expansion we'll get a few other cool exploration mission datacrons.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm sure they must have thought about that, and you know, there's been datacrons in every other expansion, so I'm hoping that there will be in this one as well. Some of the Rishi ones were interesting too back in the day, so there's some really funky Datacrons out there, and I'm hoping for some more good ones.
Maybe we'll get to swim for one of them on Manon or something like that.
Maybe
with like an old diver helmet on.
Yeah,
that's
cast
right. Iron.
With the thing where you're like just walking along and you've got your bat shark repellent to fend off the Firaxis sharks.
That's right. Little aerosol can.
Yep. So this is all this has been regarding the Best View in SWTOR contest. And as they say, the 10-year anniversary is only a few months away. For such a momentous occasion, we want to do something special to celebrate with our players. Starting to, let's see, every year around the launch anniversary, we have an in-game anniversary event to celebrate, to commemorate the occasion. We add new rewards to a vendor that only appears during the event. As this upcoming anniversary is the 10-year celebration, we want to do something memorable. We want to players can help choose some of the rewards we add to the celebration. Starting today, players can submit screenshots taken anywhere on 10 select SWTOR planets. Take a screenshot of a scenic vista, a vibrant forest, a peaceful stream, and we'll choose the screenshot we feel captures the essence of that planet. One winner will be chosen per planet for a total of 10 winning submissions. The winning submissions will then be turned into stronghold decorations and distributed by the 10-year anniversary event vendor in-game. That is really cool, because
that is really cool.
I think it's such a nice thing that something you do in-game can then become part of the game. Mm-hmm. So the 10 planets that they're doing this for are Hutta, Korriban, Ord Mantell, and Tython. In other words, the 4 starter planets. Tatooine, Mekeb, Yavin 4, Zakul, Ossus, and Mek-Sha. Yeah, and they could have chosen any planets, and these are great ones. Obviously there's tons of other great ones as well, but those are the 10 that for this event, and so they wanted to include planets that represent every era of the game's history. So there you go. Ossus is really pretty. There's a picture of Ossus right below that sentence in this, and it's like, yeah, Ossus is awesome looking. If you're interested in participating in the contest, enter by submitting your screenshots to contests@SWTOR.com. And then there's a fair bit of guidelines. No player characters in the screenshot, however, NPCs are allowed. The in-game UI needs to be turned off. The default command for this is Alt-Z, but you also need to turn the nameplates off, so make sure that those also go off when you have Alt-Z off, and you might have to go in and click on the nameplate bits. Screenshots of cinematics do not qualify, so it has to be actually something you're doing from within the game itself, not just a cinematic. And you cannot do additional editing to the screenshots. For example, no filters added, no editing done by external tools. Camera settings must be within intended in-game parameters. So this means not using external tools or editing game files to exceed in-game settings. If you've listened to the OotiniCast a long time ago, we actually went through like the little place in your game settings. You go in and you do a text change, and you can actually change your camera so that it zooms out like 500% or 5,000% instead of the intended amounts. And this is to get these huge, crazy, panoramic vista sort of shots and stuff like that. But they don't want that for this. Graphics settings should be at very high or ultra, and image size should be 1920 by 1080 or higher. And then the team will crop the chosen screenshots to a 4:3 format, and the image format should be JPG. In addition to those image requirements, they ask that the email include the following information. Subject line clearly states the name of the contest and the specific planet where your screenshot submission was taken, your account name, the name of an existing character on the listed account, and the server the listed character resides on. The account character and server names are crucial to give the winners a special prize, so please don't forget to include that. They haven't really said it, but in my head, I'm assuming they want this information so they can, like, when they put the name of this decoration, it probably includes maybe the name of the character, like it might be Chill's panorama of Mek-Sha or whatever, I don't know that. They're not specifically saying that, but they do say that the account character and server names are crucial to give the winners a special prize. So maybe that's something different. Maybe the special prize is actually to send something to a character for someone's. That's quite possible too. They're being cagey about it for some reason, but whatever. It's all good. Qualifying accounts must have been created by August 31st, 2021. Accounts need to have a clean standing both in-game and on the forum, so no forum suspensions since June 1st of 2021, no record of in-game suspensions since September 1st, 2020. Character names must abide by terms of service rules. And then, there's a few other details too, and you should go through that. Obviously, if you're going to submit, you probably should read the whole thing. But there you go. And let's see, there's one thing that they did on the forums. They did give a little bit of extra information here. Why can't players from certain countries take part in the contest? Unfortunately, currently the contest is only open to those listed in the contest guidelines. However, we're looking into how we can expand into more countries in the future. And this is, note this is subject to local laws and regulations. Can screenshots be taken from within strongholds, flashpoints, and so on? Strongholds, flashpoints, and other instances that take place on the listed planets are acceptable. So there you go. Like if you have one from one of those planets, you can do that. The same listed rules apply to these areas as screenshots taken in the open world version of the planets. And then for players with higher native resolutions than 1920 by 1080, how should they submit their images? We're clarifying the guidelines to be 1920 by 1080 or higher resolution. As long as the submitted screenshots are 1920 by 1080 or above, that's acceptable on our end. But they will be editing the chosen submissions to a 4:3 ratio to fit our stronghold decoration template. Can I take screenshots from out of bounds? Even if a player is able to get to an out of bounds area by purely in-game means, we feel it's not in the spirit of the competition and is clearly not intended for players to be there. Screenshots taken in such a manner would be subject to disqualification. There you go. All right. So there you go. Yeah, so contest coming up, a little bit of, a little bit of game history potentially they can have if you submit the winning entry for one of these 10 planets. Very cool.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And basically, the Mind Trap has basically rolled over into the holo feed already, so we're on to the news. And we are confirming something that was suspected on our last episode. Kai's stock will reset when the weekly reset happens. And
Makes
Jackie
sense.
Ko did in fact confirm that. She said his inventory rotation schedule will match up with when guild perks are reset every Tuesday at 0000 GMT, and they're going to update the patch notes. And let's see. Game scaling feedback. Oh, yeah, so as always, whenever they put out new information on test servers, they're looking for more, feedback. And then right now it's Sorcerer and Assassin. And also, you can now start to level your character up to level 80 on the PTS, which is pretty cool. Merlyn, have you had a chance to do the Sorcerers and Assassins yet?
I played with them a little bit. Haven't gotten back in it since they opened it up to do character copies. So I was just creating a random character and taking a look at the skill trees and the class selections. And I need to get in there more. I'm looking forward to hopefully in another week or two, they'll release the Merc and the PT.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll kind of have, because we know every mirror class is going to be the same. And so those, either the bounty hunter or the Republic trooper, one or the other is the one we're missing. And so probably we'll get in there a bit more seriously once we kind of have everything. And a little more confidence pieces will hopefully not be moving around quite so much.
Right. And you've already got some guides up on these. And what is the website again?
Yeah, it's just www.merlynswotor, all one word, .com, or just Google Merlyn and SWTOR, or just honestly Google SWTOR. I think it will come up like on the second page, usually.
Nice.
Something like that. And yeah, I created like a 7.0 lots of SWTOR section where there's a page for each guide that is kind of visually walks through all the information, because you can find kind of text-based guides on some of the various discords, like the Theory Crafter Discord, for example, is where a lot of the data mining stuff is available a few days before the patch. And so I tried to take what's in the game and make it a little more visual for people to be able to click through and see, well, here's the abilities I think I'm going to have, here's my options. And hopefully it's kind of my attempt to cheat and get a little bit ahead of like class guides. Or hopefully it'll be like, this is stuff I can just copy over and then just layer on top everything below it about, okay, well, how does this change your rotation? Which of these are going to be best in slot to add commentary? And so, yeah, so I've been adding those each time the PTS updates. So I've got them for Guardian, Sentinel, Sniper, Operative, Assassin, and Sork.
Excellent. Yeah, and I really like how you have it laid out, and you can actually see, and then you can highlight it and see, okay, well that's what that one's going to do. So if I get to level 80, these are the options, stuff like that. Yeah, it's really good. It's similar to what's in game, but it's nice and clean, which I really appreciate. The test server it currently has character copy will be available. Support is limited due to the combat styles already implemented in the PTS. A level 80 will be available but limited. There will be new packages that will boost players to level 80. Game scaling is only available for planets, daily areas, story mode, flashpoints, and chapters. Game scaling not available for old operations, ops outside of 7.0, or veteran and master modes for flashpoints. There will be vendors available that have 328 gear. They're located on each fleet in front of the Spoils of War vendor. There are a lot of items on these vendors, so please use the filters for your discipline to easily navigate through them. Please note there's a known issue associated with the filter labels. And so it sounds like the 328 gear is going to be the new 306 gear. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that where you get like the end game and you get the set bonuses and stuff like that?
I don't think any of the new set bonuses or tacticals, any of that are out there
so
yet.
That's not there yet. Okay. So it's
that's what it would
generic.
seem to be like.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It kind of makes sense to assume that if there's anything higher than 306, that would be what it would be.
Right.
But
do we know if it's going to go any higher than 328, or is like 328 like the basic gear for end game, or for like level 80, and then it goes up from there, or is 328 going to be like the 306 right now? Do we know that for sure?
I don't think they've said, or if they have, I've missed it. I don't think they've talked too much about gearing. And I suspect we'll find out more about that when they start to release information about set bonuses and tactical options to say, here's the new 306, which if it is 320 something, that's unless it's, what does that mean in terms of stats? Well, it can mean whatever they want. That might still mean all of your stats are double, despite it being pretty narrow.
Only slightly higher.
It was a really, really big jump from like a lot of our stat pools almost doubled going from when we launched the new expansion. Yeah. So pardon me, that'll be interesting to see when we get further along and we have a little more confidence that gearing is kind of mostly set apart from tweaking.
Right.
So more come on that, I think.
Yep. They did say here also set bonuses will not be enabled at all during this phase of PTS. Gear will grant you their stats, but set bonuses will not work. So even 75 set bonuses are not going to be in the game right now. And let's see. And then they do give you information on how to access it. So get to the forums if you want to do this, because there are ways to create new characters, or you can do character copy. And let's see, I do have another link to your SWTOR, Merlyn-SWTOR, the google.com version of your link to the guides. And I did notice, I was like looking through the guides a little bit, and I did notice that the Sorks, for example, like something that I've always done is I always take the one that both clears, it's like the immersion where your force speed clears movement impairing effects, but it also, then I take the utility that lowers the cooldown and makes it last a little bit longer, like half a second longer. And that won't be possible anymore. So you're going to have to, Sorks are going to have to make a decision, like, is it really important to me that when I use force speed that I am granted, the clearing of movement impairing from, removal of movement impairing effects at the start of it? Or is it more important to me that it's up more often and that it lasts a little bit longer? So I don't know.
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of a theme that anything that gives you mobility or any kind of utility in PvP is you're getting fewer of those. And that's made sorcerer healer, one of the challenges of balancing PvP and PvE. Sorcs perform better in PvP because they have such amazing mobility, and force speed's a big part of that. So not too surprising to say, well, if you want this, you're gonna have to give up something else you want. The flip side, I will say, for DPS players that play Sorc, is that in the current meta, force speed is an offensive cooldown. You're using it regularly to boost your attacks, and so presumably it may be the same. I guess we'll see. But if in fact the set bonuses we get in the expansion are different, then you might actually be using force speed for what it was designed for.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And then I guess it also depends, if you're doing the PvP version, or if you or if you're doing operations, that sort of thing. That always makes a big difference too. So if anyone's interested in the PTS, that's ongoing, and we're gonna, like you say, we should be getting Trooper/Bounty Hunter pretty soon. And we are moving into October, so it's getting closer and closer. We don't know. We don't have an exact date, but we know it's, probably sometime in December. They call it winter, but, it'd be pretty odd if it was like too early in November or anything like that. And it's almost certainly not going to be past the start of the new year, or at least I doubt that they're looking at that, as a start date. So probably December, but we'll see.
I'm sure I would think that's what they're hoping for, because the actual 10-year anniversary is in December.
That too.
Getting it in before the holiday. I'm sure the business side of the business people would like it to be then. I just hope that they take the time to do it right. I know they were working on this before they announced it, and they've had a nice pace for getting the classes posted, where it's been every 2 to 3 weeks or so. So on that pace, hopefully by early to mid-October, we've got the last class that we haven't seen. And then they'll still have to do the mirrors, that they need to fix the UI, which they said was work in process. But there's a lot of content to get posted. So here's, fingers crossed, hoping that we see a lot of information come in October about the Flashpoint, the operation, gearing. There's a lot to get out there. And while the story content won't be on PTS, a fair bit of that other content, like the operation, presumably will be on PTS, hopefully for a while, because we saw with Duxon, I don't remember exactly how long Duxon was on PTS, but that op is a very fun operation, but it was buggier than most on PTS. And so that's really important to have it to be playable. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's true. I do remember from the beginning of Onslaught, there was like a lot of bugs that had to be worked out in Duxon, and a lot of them did seem to take quite a while to fix too. Like they weren't, it wasn't just like in the first, patch or two after the expansion. It was like kind of an ongoing thing for a little while, where they were still dialing things in and trying to make sure all the different, boss mechanics and so on were working as they intended. So
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a buggy one.
Yeah.
Still is to some degree, but most of the big worst ones are fixed for it, so they're more entertaining bugs than anything else now, I think.
Right. I think it was before the hunter boss, the leader had us exit and re-enter so that we could actually see the flames, because apparently that helps reset the flames so you can actually see them.
Yeah, if you're in 16-man story mode in particular, sometimes you don't see it. Sort of with newer players, you have to have someone with the ops markers to like throw target markers on that spot to say don't stand there.
Interesting.
Oh crap!
Wow. Let's see. Yep. Elsewhere in the SWTOR community, there was a fun little video by Viria. What is SWTOR missing in 2021? And there's a link to it in the show notes. And I felt like some of them were just like things that she felt we didn't have enough of, like different, options for character looks and stuff like that. But it was still a fun watch. And, if you just want a good time, just watch her talk about like what she likes in the game, what she wants to see more of, and what she feels is completely missing as well. There are some that are like that, of course. It's a fun little watch. So Viria's having fun in the game, as she often does. And yeah, Kitty, sounds like you watched it.
Yeah, I watched it. I loved it because she was speaking my language the entire time.
More hairstyles.
Quality of live stuff. I'm like, yeah, more hairstyles. Definitely more hairstyles. But
is there anything that
I really like that video?
What would you be like the one thing? Let's not do 10 things, but like, what's one thing that you really do wish was in the game that maybe even if it's something that a lot of people have already asked for or whatever, or something even that we know they're working on.
I want to be able to have costume designer on my companions. Like maybe even just 3 would be fine,
So you can
and
quickly switch between them.
20 instead of 16
on your. Nice. Merlyn, is there something that you wish were in the game?
Oh gosh, I haven't seen the video yet, but I plan to. Probably for me, the one is also the outfit designer for weapons, because I am.
Yeah, that's one of the things.
Because yeah, I really got involved in the game when like there were very few legacy options. Like I was grinding the Gree event so hard when it released because that was one of the only ways to get legacy gear and the only way to get legacy offhand until Onslaught. And
Right.
so, I got in the habit of Gree weapons because those are legacy weapons.
Yes.
And so that's all I use because I'm like, yeah, I could put separate weapons, then I'd lose track of where they are. And so I have all of these nice, platinum, gold weapons, these cool lightsabers and blaster rifles. And I'm like, yeah, but they're not legacy bound. And so I'd love to see that option. The software side of it might be difficult, but I would hope the argument would make itself because, like, well, you know what? How many people out there see a 1,000 cartel coin, 2,000 cartel coin weapon that's like really cool, like the Mandalorian blaster rifle that like disintegrates its target is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't buy it. As cool as it is, I didn't buy it because it's not legacy bound, and I don't want to have to there's like 3 or 4 different classes that can use a blaster rifle, and I can't keep it all in my head. So it would make the money. I think. I hope. So to me, that'd probably be the number one.
You know what? That's actually a good point. If it's in their financial interest, it might help them push it through. I would agree that was one of the things I would definitely like for sure. I would say that'd be right up there for me as well. Because I appreciate though that with the new combat styles, there's going to be ways to like potentially you could use some of these combat style changes to actually swap things out really quickly, and do it that way, sort of like a back end way of doing it. It's not quite the same, but it could work, and it'll be a lot of fun. I'm also looking forward to the fact that we'll be able to do different cosplays of like characters where you couldn't do troopers with pistols and stuff like that, and now you can, stuff like that. So yeah, and weapon in that would be amazing. So all right, so we've already talked about the combat styles for Sorcerer and Assassin being on the PTS. Couple of things that are going on just in the broader Star Wars universe. Diego Luna says Star Wars Andor has finished shooting and to expect familiar faces. So that I'm looking forward to that one very much. I definitely liked him a lot. Rogue One is one of my favorite Star Wars movies.
Great.
I have a real soft spot for that movie, and absolutely looking forward to that. And then the other thing is Star Wars Visions is actually out on Disney Plus. I have not actually checked it out yet. I guess some part of my brain definitely like turns off as soon as something is non-canon. You know what I mean? Because this is definitely like a non-canon type of show. But it does look very cool, and I definitely should check it out, and I'm sure I will. But I'll just need to make myself sit down and check this out. And I'm sure I'm going to love it when I do, but I have not checked it out yet. Merlyn, have you had a chance to look at this yet?
I haven't. This is the collection of all the different animes.
Yeah, it's like all the anime style episodes.
I'm not sure all of them will be exactly my preferred style, but a couple of the different clips I thought those look really, really cool.
Yeah, there's some
reminds
beautiful
me a little
stuff.
bit of all the different like the original Clone Wars cartoon, that like a bunch of different clips, and weren't as distinct visually as this one promises to be, but it looks really interesting. It's probably going to be, my kids tend to dominate the Netflix with kiddie shows, and so next time I actually have control of the remote, that might be a good one to check out, because they might like it too.
They might, yeah. I don't know what sort of audience they're aiming at, but it is Disney Plus. I'm sure it's reasonably family friendly. But I am looking forward to checking that out. Although, like I say, I'm gonna have to make myself do it. That's
Helpers.
Really funny. Yes. Well,
it doesn't matter how much I tell them I'm going to be on a podcast. Go entertain him. Here's where his snacks are. Yet somehow
it's all good.
Probably would have to got hypnotized by the Netflix. I'm sure is what happened.
All right. And Kitty, do you have anything else for this episode?
Yes. I have there's going to be a costume contest.
Okay.
That I am going to be one of the judges on.
Oh, cool.
And if you're interested, the theme is villains and superheroes.
Oh, nice.
And if you would like to enter, you have to go through Discord. And
Okay.
I don't think it would be a problem if we stuck that possibly in show notes.
Yep. Nope. It looks fine to me.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and make it a little
And
brighter.
I'll put it in chat there. But yeah, so go through Discord. You can enter, I'm pretty sure it's on Starforge. So you can enter your good guy and your bad guy as you see
Okay.
as you see fit, and then they will be all compiled, and then the judges will pick out the ones that they think are the best, and there will be prizes given. And from what I understand, the prizes are pretty
spectacular.
good prizes.
Nice.
Yeah.
But they have to be on Starforge, right? In this case,
I believe they are on Starforge.
That's fair, because like, especially if you're giving out specific gifts, you can't really do that necessarily to like everyone everywhere, like a pack, where you can just buy one if you have to.
I'm looking right now real quick. The all entries must be submitted between October 1st and 27th. You can enter up to 2 costumes. However, you cannot enter them on the same tune. And I don't see that it is restricted to any server. So I think
So maybe it can be on others. Yeah. Cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. And Merlyn, go ahead and give everyone out your website one more time, and anything else that, any social media or other contact information that you want them to have.
Yeah, sure thing. So again, most of it's on my website, which is just www.merlynswotor.com, or just Google Merlyn and SWTOR. Same with YouTube. It's youtube.com/c/merlynswotor. So pretty easy.
Excellent. And all right, then. This has been great having you on, and I really look forward to seeing some more of your guides, especially once everything's dialed in and the expansions hit, and we need to know what to expect when we get on to our characters. So
definitely.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Merlyn.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm stocking up on caffeine when the expansion drops to get through all those.
That's a smart idea. Yeah. All right, then that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the SWTOR server, or in our
OotiniCast
Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly on Tuesdays, 4 p.m. Pacific, and we also stream it at twitch.tv/OotiniCast. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. And thank you to the chat room. And thank you, Merlyn.
Thanks, Merlyn. Thank you, chat room.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And we'll see you next show.
I messed that up.
Before I stop the stream, let me go ahead and we're going to raid someone. Let me get to the place where I can raid. Got to get over to here, manage the stream. There should be a little raid channel button. We'll see who's streaming. It's often Marcus might be, or see who else is up right now. Let's see.
And Marcus might be starting a new
It looks like
operation.
Yeah, I actually looks like he has 3 people up, so he's probably just starting up. So let's go ahead and raid Marcus. He's a longtime friend of the show. Thanks for coming, everyone. And of course, the edited version will be out tomorrow, and I'll get the YouTube version up usually tonight sometime. It takes a little bit longer. All right, here we go.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Okay, I'm stopping the stream. Stopping the